Hey everybody, morning. It is, I don't know what that was. That was Google chiming in on something. Anyway, I am here. It is 7 a.m. Coffee. Hmm, I don't know who this cup is. Anyway, um, this is why we call it a live stream. Ignore, away, go away, go away. It should be live. It says it's live. Let's view in the control room. Yep, it's live. Great. Um, Good morning. I have a lot going on, so a lot of the prep work that I'm doing for this is not happening point blank. The For some reason I've been getting a lot of feedback in a lot of LinkedIn and a lot of followings on Twitter. I'm not sure why, but thank you. I guess. I got my first person complaining about something I did, which is generally a sign of success. Because if you're getting trolled, that means you're getting people's attention. He didn't like what I had to say about DevOps and that whole process, and that pre-work is actually work, and you need to do those kind of things. Somebody was asking, should you do, and I'll just talk about the question. So the question was, uh, when you're building a project, should you start with front end or back end? And my response was, well, you should figure out what problem you're actually solving and then make sure that there's a market fit and then make sure that you have. I should actually just read the tweet rather than try and make it up. It was a lot of fun. What are they called now that it's called X? I don't even know. Notifications. Oh, here it is. So rather than front end or back end, I wrote, I would start with what problem I'm solving, then determine if there's a market for it, and then it would come up with some initial designs for the happy path, usually 2 or 3 options, and then determine additional user flows, and then I would start with the backend. Because after you have the designs, the front end is just a implementation. It's basically execution at that point, but the back end, there's still a lot of thought process that needs to go into it. What your data models are, what your schema is, what your structures are, things like that. Uh, oh wow, that's kind of cool. I just figured out I could actually see the chat built into OBS. So here's to OBS. Sorry if I sound a little weird today. I didn't really sleep last night. Crazy night. Uh, Freezing today. Not sure what's going on with heat, but really cold today. Let's see. So yeah, this guy was complaining. He's like, "Oh, you're talking about pre-work, and I would actually start with the front end." And I was like, "That's great. You can start with the front end." I just responded with my answer. It's kind of fun. Oh, authenticity and getting trolled on the internet. Yay, success. Anyway, good morning. Glad you're here. For those that are here or tuning in later, uh, the few topics that are coming up is priorities and being able to set priorities for your teams and then how to balance things out. Uh, when people become managers in engineering, they always go, "Oh, I just need to make my engineers deliver the product or deliver the feature." That is not your job. That is just a part of your job. You also need to realize that you are responsible for their careers. You want to actually make them better engineers. You want to actually help them ramp up. One of the things, and a lot of places don't really like me saying this, but regardless, one of my jobs as a manager is to get them skills so good that they can get their next job, but also make this place so great that they wouldn't want to leave, right? That's really your job. Give them something to challenge them, make them better developers, and you'll be amazed at what they can do. A lot of times people like to micromanage, and then when you start micromanaging people, you will just belittle them without even trying because you're not trusting them to do their job. Will they do it perfect? Nobody does anything perfect. If you think somebody's going to do something if you think you're doing something perfect, you are incorrect. It just gets frustrating watching people micromanage other people, and when you see it, you want to just chime in, and you're like, they're gonna they're gonna hate you for what you're doing. And a lot of times they're doing it with great intent. They're like, no, I'm gonna protect them from making these mistakes, and I'm gonna update their code because I don't want them to. I don't even know why you would do that, but I've seen engineer managers, new managers generally, uh, they'll see somebody's code and they'll know that the code well isn't written the right way, or it's basically they'll do a little code review on their own, and rather than go give that person that feedback because they don't like the confrontation, or they think, oh, I'll just fix it for them while I'm doing this review and make it better. Well, eventually they will find out that you made that change. Uh, that's why we have Git and source control history. And then they'll be like, oh, why did you change my code? And you're going to have that confrontation anyway. If you educate them and teach them, hey, there's a better way to do this, or there's a different way to do this. Here's what I would have done. What do you think of this? And like give them the opportunity to have that conversation. That conversation is critical for them to become a better developer and you to become a better manager. If you're, quote, covering for them, you're not helping them. You're literally making it worse for them because they think they're doing a great job. And then in the back of your mind, or even in the front of your mind, you're like, wow, they're horrible engineers. I can't believe I'm fixing all of their code. Well, that's on you because you're not telling them or teaching them what they're doing wrong and giving them the opportunity to fix it. You got to give people the opportunity. People will fail, right? But if you don't let them, then they won't know that they're doing anything wrong and keep doing the wrong thing. And then you're wondering why they keep doing the wrong thing because you haven't given them the opportunity or the feedback to actually let them know. Drives me nuts. I've seen it so many organizations where managers will be like, oh, I'm just going to help my team out and make sure everything's great. No, you're not. You're making your team horrible. Uh, yeah, it's really there's some basics in regards to building an engineering team, and everyone's like, how do you build trust in an engineering team or any team really? How do you build trust in any relationship? Well, be honest and be consistent and listen. Seems seems like common sense, right? It is not so common because everyone wants to be heard, and then a new manager and a new title will always be like, no one's listening to me. Well, have you been listening to them rather than just yelling at them? And generally, respect happens over time. It is not something you just wake up and you're like, oh, I have a new title, so I am now respected. You're an idiot. Uh, drives me nuts. That's my new saying today. Drives me nuts. Pet peeves of the engineering world. I don't know. This is what happens when I don't sleep too much and I'm going on these random rants. It's kind of fun though. It's very cathartic. So, playing with Python again, I was playing with some scripting stuff in regards to Google Sheets and data frames and pandas and all of that. And I realized I love data, truly love data. Love watching what you can do with data. I love when I watch other people try and manipulate data. People are like, there's a 70% gain on blah, 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 right? Well, in the past 7 minutes, there was a 70% gain, or there was a 70% gain over the past 27 years, right? There's so many stats that are thrown out in regards to so many different things, right? Whether it be stock market, whether it be metrics that you're measuring for team performance, whether it be uh, election results, it doesn't really matter. There are so many stats that are thrown out, and you'll hear these large numbers or amounts, and then you're like, you gotta start questioning those things of like, well, what was your sample size? How much data was in it? How long was that sample taken? Over what period? What are some other contradictory results? What are your outliers? And these are just questions I'm coming off the top of my head. There's like so much more you could go into depending on what your stat is. What is your source of truth? Where is that data actually coming from? If I do a sample size of 1 and I get the result I want, that's 100% success rate. So I can literally interview my dog and say, "Are you happy?" And she'll be like, "Yes." And then I can say, in a sample size, and I would never admit whatever the sample size is, I have 100% dot dot dot, right? And when people hear like 100% or lower, like 1%, that's when they start questioning. But they'll throw stats at you like 79% of all people interviewed. Okay. All people interviewed. How many people did you interview? 7? 3? 1,000? 2 billion? Depends on where your poll is. What geographic locations are they coming from? What is this metric for? So when you start reading about data and data statistics and the way people interpret and present data, really fascinating to me, because I can take the exact same data source and give you contradictory results, because I will limit the scope to the size that I want. I will limit the time frame to the size that I want to get the results I want. There is a what movie was it? Uh, Aaron Eckhart. It was Thank You for Smoking. Hysterical movie, sad but true, pretty funny. Um, Highly recommend it. Anyway, in that movie, he was like, they found the one scientist in, I forgot where it was, that actually could not prove or disprove that smoking was dangerous to your health. And that is what they built all these uh, research reports around, because they found the doctor that honestly was bad at his job. And if you find a data person that's just as bad, then you can get the data that you want it to say, whatever you want it to say. So be careful when you're seeing data online on the internet. It's just not good stuff. Anyway, um, I've been rambling today. I well, I call it the daily. I don't call it anything specific. So this is my daily today. It is me rambling. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure I will have something more for you tomorrow, but for now, I'm gonna go finish my coffee and take my dogs out. And that is all for today. And whoa, what happened? And thanks for coming by. Is anyone chatting today? Sorry, I wasn't even looking. No, it's fine. Ooh, but there's a view. Oh, that's me. I always view myself so I can actually see the progress and make sure that the stream is coming through. Spend about 15 minutes. It's kind of all I generally do. Make it quick, say hi. Yay! Oh, I wonder if all of these things are working. Does this still work? It does. Yay! Uh, anyway, so thanks for coming by. Yay! And I will, yeah, see OBS now that I've been doing this for what? It's been a week and a half. A week and a half of doing this, and I got it down to a system. I'm getting better in regards to lights, cameras, mic. My mic worked from the moment I signed up. Um, Set up the stream, so it's kind of cool. And anyway, you get better at something, the more you do it, as long as you're doing it correctly, right? Don't forget, if you're practicing something bad, it will become bad practice, and it'll become permanent. So practice makes permanent is one of the things that somebody said, and I was like, oh, I really like that one. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling. It's been a long night. I am good, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.